Welcome to another exciting weekend of EFL action. It's all to play for at both ends of the Championship table as second-place Sheffield United host Swansea City at Bramall Lane. And in the basement, we have a huge relegation clash between Wigan Athletic and Huddersfield Town. Both teams have recently changed manager and are hoping for an upturn in results with just a third of the season remaining. But we begin in South Yorkshire as Paul Heckingbottom's Sheffield United take on Russell Martin's Swansea, with the Blades looking to continue their excellent form and consolidate their position in the automatic promotion spots. Swansea up against statistically the best defence in the division. They've started brightly though, and Joel Peru with the efforts. Whereas Fodringham saves, Cullen sniffing around, trying to get on the rebound, but Russell Martin said he'd never felt so low than after last weekend's defeat, encouraged by that. Bogle, brilliant work from Jayden Bogle, and Jai keeps it alive. McAtee for Sander Berge, swept home majestically. Scandinavian scorer once again for the Blades. You have to credit Bogle initially, and Jai and McAtee kept things moving. Berge emphatically did the rest. Bogle thoroughly enjoying his afternoon, and Jai's in the middle, as is Billy Sharp, deflected and saved by Fisher. Sharp looking for his 250th career league goal, and he was so close to getting it. Now McAtee directs, he was tugged there by Ollie Cooper, and it's a free kick for the home side. Berger's there, McAtee, but it's Norwood who strikes the underside of the bar, and there's Robinson! 2-0. The reactions of a striker from the Sheffield United defender. He netted in the win over Burnley here in November. Another Bramall Lane goal for Robinson. Entering the fray is Ollie McBurney to take on his old club. Billy Sharp's afternoon is over. Peru. He's got Cooper in the middle. Cooper! But Fodringham makes another save for Paul Heckingbottom's man. They have had their moments in this one of Swansea, but Fodringham stood firm. Berger competing, and now McBurney. Crunching challenge there from Nathan Wood on the substitute. Gets himself a yellow card. Osborne over it, and Norwood for Robinson, looking for another goal, and he's hit the base of the post there as Robinson, and the boss nearly had another one to celebrate. Got forward well. Norwood towards Egan and McBurney. Fisher made the save, and grappling with each other there, Fulton and Robinson, and now they're all wading in. Passions boiling over. Not sure what McBurney had to do with it, and a yellow card each is the punishment from Matt Donoghue. Here's Grimes, losing out though, and Jai. McBurney just delayed there. Bogle. Still Jayden Bogle, glided past Norton, and still going, and now it's McBurney! From close range, formerly a Swan, now very much a Blade, intent on going back to the Premier League. His first league goal since early November. Brilliance from Bogle once again, and McBurney was waiting. There is the whistle. 3 goals, 3 points, second place, but first-class form. Martin's man well beaten. Sheffield United 3, Swansea 0. The last team to win here in the Championship was Preston in December 2015. No sign of Lancashire rivals bursting the Burnley bubble, as Josh Brownhill's teaser couldn't have been easier for Nathan Teller. No need to look so surprised, Nathan. The man on loan from Southampton in terrific form. He's been one of the division's players of the season so far, and most certainly wasn't done yet. His teammates clearly love playing with him. Ashley Barnes next to combine with the fleet-footed 23-year-old, the star of this particular Turf Moor show, with poise, panache and striking prowess, scoring for a second time as he did in midweek FA Cup action. It was a word associated with today's opponents in the first ever Football League, but Vincent Invincibles actually has a nice ring to it, and that's exactly what Company's vintage clarets have been of late. This equalling a club record of 10 EFL wins on the spin, rounded off by their rampant number 23, his first senior hat-trick. A somersault, a smile, a superb individual performance. An air of inevitability about the table-toppers' results at the moment. Back-to-back 3-0 successes in the second tier. Ryan Lowe's outfit just couldn't handle a player right on the top of his game. Derby delight for the leaders and a very happy recipient of the match ball.
Cardiff's 3-2 win at Middlesbrough last September belongs to another world now that Borough have Michael Carrick in charge. 17 minutes gone, and how's this for an opener from Michael Force? It was typical of their start to the game when the home side just could not get close. The striker's 5th goal in 8 games was a thrilling advert for Borough ball that's become Carrick's trademark. But not everything falls into place, especially if Callum Robinson's in the vicinity. Borough's defence is always second best once he took charge, and Surrey Carver on his home debut was more than happy to take the plaudits with his first Cardiff goal. Sorry didn't seem the hardest word for him or his teammates, only their 2nd goal in their last 8 league matches. Perhaps this was the day for the Bluebirds to prove they were still standing and up for a relegation fight. But too often this season, Cardiff performed like a candle in the wind, easily blown out, and so it proved 11 minutes later as Borough's energy overran the home defence again. Cameron Archer, on loan from Aston Villa, opened his Borough account in memorable style. The 21-year-old who supplied their assist for the first goal embodies the current confidence of the resurgent Borough team. For all his talk of improvement, Sabri Lamouchi must have feared the worst for his Cardiff players as their opponents poured forward. Force's timing was perfect for this header, only for placement to let him down. And how many times would City's new manager have stressed to his players the importance of taking their chances? Cedric Kipre will wonder how he failed even to test Zach Steffen in the Borough goal with this opportunity. Then again, how many Championship defenders, let alone Borough fans, would have bet that the division's top scorer Chuba Akpom would have passed up that opening? No matter, Carrick's team didn't flag. They were dominating, and they just needed 1 goal to nail the match, and in stoppage time came a classic of simplicity. Matt Crooks with the pass, and Riley McCree, his composure and left boot, did the rest. The life of Riley indeed. That's 7 wins in the last 8 games for Borough. For Cardiff, a first win since Bonfire Night can't come soon enough to spark a revival.
Talk about making a fast start. There were less than 40 seconds on the clock when this deflected cross from Alfie Doughty was somehow stabbed home by Tom Lockyer to give Luton the early lead at Coventry. It was the Welsh defender's first league goal in 13 months. The Hatters might have started strongly, but it was the home side who ended it on the front foot. Matt Godden's cross invited the finish from Victor Gyökeres, but Coventry's leading scorer was bundled down from behind by Gabriel Osho, whose pleas of innocence fell on the deaf ears of referee Steve Martin. Godden's spot kick wasn't the best, but Luton keeper Ethan Horvath had guessed wrong, and just like that, Coventry were level. We've all seen better, but equally, they all count. An injury and pre-game warm-ups to Ben Sheaf had meant Coventry were forced into a line-up change, bringing Casey Palmer into the starting 11. He'd scored 3 goals already in 2023, and so close to a 4th early in the second half. Both sides had chances after that, but the only real talking point came in the final few minutes when Josh Wilson-Esbrand made a complete hash of a challenge on Luton's Fred Onyedinma. It looked nasty, but fortunately there was no serious damage done. And having already been booked, the Manchester City loanee probably couldn't complain at the sight of a second yellow. There wasn't time for Luton to take advantage afterwards though, so this one ended all square.
With both sides keen to avoid the indignity of a fourth consecutive league game without victory for the first time this season, something surely had to give at Vicarage Road. And midway through the first half, it was the Watford defence. After Dan Bachmann parried, Bradley Dack pounced. Joe Rankin-Costello played a big part with the initial work. Dack in the groove, his 5th goal in 12 Blackburn appearances. Despite a spell on the sideline, João Pedro is still Watford's top goal scorer. Blackburn laid this chance on a plate, but after time on the treatment table, Pedro's still trying to find his range. Goals have been a rare commodity for Watford lately. They'd failed to score in 6 of their previous 12 Championship games. After joining the fray from the subs bench, Keenan Davis did his level best to make an impact. After Ainsley Pears saved, Ismaila Sarr couldn't make the most of the rebound and was relieved perhaps to discover it wouldn't have counted. Offside was called. Victory in only one of their previous 4 home league games had seen Watford's patience wearing thin. They were certainly patient in the build-up here. How Ismail Kone failed to convert Matthias Martin's cross, only the Canadian international will know. Pressure comes with the territory in the Watford technical area, but if Slaven Bilic has been feeling the heat, then Wesley Hoots' leveller certainly helped ease the tension. It's still just 3 wins in 11 league games for Watford, and Blackburn's bid to rediscover that winning feeling will also go on.
A 3-0 defeat to Burnley brought a quick end to David Wagner's honeymoon period at Norwich. A trip to inform Bristol City, not the perfect follow-up. Angus Gunn was preferred in goal to Tim Krul after returning from a hip injury. His first start under Wagner. He won't be happy with how he dealt with this effort from Mark Sykes in the first half. A second goal in as many games for the Irish midfielder and a 5th in 6 matches in all competitions. Nigel Pearson's side were looking in good shape to extend their unbeaten run in the Championship to 6. Norwich had the majority of ball possession but rarely gave Max O'Leary anything to think about in the Robins goal. Canaries' top scorer Timu Puki, with his side's only effort on target in the entire game, easily dealt with. This was a game of few chances and low on quality. Bristol City were trying to beat Norwich for the first time in 12 league meetings. They had a big chance to make certain of the win when Joe Williams fed Harry Cornick for a chance to score his first goal since his January move from Luton. Gunn redeemed himself, but the damage was already done, and there's work to do for Wagner's promotion chasers.
Promotion hopefuls Millwall took 3,000 fans over to West London and gave a first start to Duncan Watmore against QPR. Just after the half hour, the new boy gave the travelling support something to cheer. An emphatic finish to make it 1-0. QPR trailing familiar territory. They had won just one of their last 14 in the Championship, and with joint leading scorer Lyndon Dykes missing with pneumonia, their attacking threat was limited, though Ilias Chair wasn't too far away here. It remained 1-0 until 12 minutes from time, when confusion in the QPR box gave substitute Oliver Burke the chance to add Millwall's second. Gratefully accepted. Like Watmore, he was making his first start since arriving on loan from Werder Bremen, where he'd barely played, making the most of his opportunity. Staring at a 7th straight home game without a win, QPR responded a few minutes later. This really was a game for players scoring their first for their club. Chris Martin signed on Monday. He gave his new team hope of a revival, but Millwall held on to record back-to-back away wins for the first time this season and move into the playoff places.
Still to come, the rest of the action from the Championship as 2 of the division's bottom 3 meet at the DW Stadium. Welcome back. Next to Lancashire as new boss Sean Maloney takes charge of his first home game as Wigan boss, as the Latics pitted their wits against Huddersfield, who parted company with their head coach Mark Fotheringham on Wednesday. Paul Walker, watch this one.
McLean intercepted by Hogg. Hungbo shakes off the challenge of Nyambe. He's looked lively so far. And he's done well here. What a fabulous run. And he forces the save out of Amos. Was there a hand in there as well? Well, the Huddersfield fans certainly appealing for a penalty. But Hungbo has been the standout player on the field of play so far. And the corner has worked short. Rodoni to Hungbo. Knockouts, letting fly. Didn't look too far away from Anthony Knockout. Quick thinking on the corner here. And when it came Knockout's way, he took aim and he wasn't far off, was he? Hungbo and Rodoni, the two Huddersfield players over this set play. So Wigan have a three-man wall. Huddersfield have a two-man wall just in front of that to try and act as a distraction. And it's Hungbo to go for it. Amos able to make the stop comfortably enough. Hungbo whips it over the wall. Might just have been arcing wide anyway. Amos taking no chances, rightly so. Darikwa and Sanani are the two players who will be making way for Wigan. Here's Kamara. Finds its way to Hogg. Touched off to Knockout. Thought about pulling the trigger, dancing his way through, going down, no penalty. Knockout convinced he was fouled. Gavin Ward unmoved. He was looking for a penalty, I think. Or maybe Charlie Hughes does seem to catch him. Hughes standing up the cross, Fletcher's there, so too is Keane, both missed it. McLean lifted back in once more. Callum Lang's header, was that a handball? That looked clearer than the previous one against Joe Ruffles. Ruffles trying to pull his arm out of the way. Does hit his arm, but once again the official's not interested in giving it. Tiehi. Pierce. Nyambi on the end of that. That should be a corner, and it will be. McLean's corner. Watmo! That is huge! You simply cannot put a price on that from Jack Watmo. Great header from Watmo at the back post. Good quality on the corner from McLean. A massive, massive goal in the fight for Championship survival.
With 4 defeats in 5 league games, Stoke natives are still restless, and a stern test awaited against a Hull side in full flow under Liam Rosenior. Oscar Estepinian certainly hit the ground running, Matthias Sarkic taking off to keep the sheet clean. Having picked up more points away from home, Stoke have been digging deep on the training ground to try and turn things around on their own patch. A little more work required on those free kick routines, perhaps. After a first half that won't live too long in the memory, surely the second half would produce something more palatable. Not necessarily. Seeking a first win at Stoke in 17 years, Hull pressed and probed as they sought to maintain their upwardly mobile momentum. They carved out a promising position. Aaron Connolly rather blew his big moment to shine. Alex Neil still searching for the right formula in his Potter's project. With 1 defeat and 10 now, Hull eyes still trained on those playoff places.
Nothing happened in a dismal first half. Thankfully, Sunderland finally showed up after the break. They were all over poor travellers Reading, who were indebted to keeper Joe Lumley for keeping them in it. Trey Hume denied by the Middlesbrough loanee Royals manager Paul Ince wondering if his side could hold out against what was becoming one-way traffic. If Lumley gets paid by the save, his bank balance will be looking pretty healthy tonight. Next to try his luck was the dangerous Patrick Roberts. Lumley couldn't hold on to his shot, but although Adji Elise was on hand to pick up the rebound, the visiting keeper was able to do just enough to keep the Black Cats at bay. But the pressure was building, and when Dan Neal whipped in a challenging cross, Lumley struggled to get any distance on his clearance. A big moment for Edouard Michoud, who contrived to blaze it over the bar. The French loanee from Paris Saint-Germain won't get many clearer chances than that one. But with the clock ticking, Sunderland finally made the breakthrough their efforts deserved. Even then it needed a mistake from Reading's Tom McIntyre, who should have booted the ball halfway to Hartlepool. Instead he dithered, Roberts nipped in, and even Lumley had no chance this time. So yet another loss on the road for the Royals, and a win which keeps Sunderland firmly in the playoff picture.
The stakes were high for these relegation rivals, but the entertainment low in the first half. So fast forward to better in the second. More possession for Rotherham and increasing worries for the home support. Cohen Bramall showed the visiting intent after our impressive point against Sheffield United last weekend. And Ollie Rathbone underlined the threat from Matt Taylor's men, who'd started the day 5 points and 3 places above Blackpool. Chris Maxwell, beaten twice in midweek by Huddersfield, was resolute in his aim for a welcome clean sheet. The epitome of the never-say-die attitude, praised by Mick McCarthy after his players rescued a point on Tuesday when reduced to 10 men. Typically, Jerry Yates was Blackpool's danger man, but his opportunities were restricted and swiftly countered by the Rotherham rearguard. Victor Johansson did his job expertly, and his teammates were equally determined to extend the United's unbeaten run to 4. Matt Taylor's been around long enough to know that if you can't win, don't lose. Not that his team settled for a point. They were still going for the full 3 in stoppage time, on a ground where they're unbeaten on the last 5 seaside visits. Chidozie Ogbene almost snatched it with the final kick of the game. So it's another point for McCarthy, but the sooner he's celebrating a first win in his new role, the better.
When Birmingham were given a free kick wide out and some distance from the West Brom goal, everyone expected the cross into the box. Everyone but Birmingham's Hannibal. On loan from Manchester United, this was his first Birmingham goal. No doubts over whether or not it was intentional. This was pre-planned. Hannibal loves it when a plan comes together. Disgruntled Birmingham fans had marched from the city centre to St Andrews in a protest against the owners, but their team was lightening their mood. Another Manchester United product, Tahith Chong, wasn't far off making it 2-0. A tough watch for West Brom boss Carlos Corberán, who signed a new contract this week. His team had won 11 of their last 16, but this one drifted further out of reach 7 minutes into the second half, when Hannibal's corner was headed in by Christian Bielik. The first Birmingham goal for him too, as they recorded a first home win of 2023.
There were 3-0 wins for the relentless front-runners Burnley and Sheffield United. Middlesbrough also continued with their remarkable run, 3-1 victors at Cardiff. It's as you were at the top, with the leading 3 clubs all picking up 3 points. Millwall leap up from 8th to 5th after beating QPR in a London derby. A new manager bounce for Wigan, who've hauled themselves off the foot of the table by overcoming fellow strugglers Huddersfield. Mick McCarthy's Blackpool dropped to the bottom. Bolton stole the headlines in League One as they marked their 5,000th league game with a comprehensive 5-0 away win against Peterborough United. Dion Charles grabbing a hat-trick for Wanderers. A good day for Plymouth, who got past Portsmouth. Ipswich pegged back Sheffield Wednesday in a 2-2 draw. Derby's excellent sequence of results was ended by Wycombe. Plymouth's stint in second was short-lived. They returned to the summit. Bolton are on the march up to 4th and in great form as are Shrewsbury in 8th. At the other end, Forest Green drew with Morecambe. They're still joined by Accrington and Cambridge in the relegation zone. Burton are up to 18th. The pick of the goals in League Two came at the Lamex Stadium as visitors Bradford City beat Stevenage 3-2. Veteran forward Matt Derbyshire rolled back the years to finish with aplomb. Stevenage's frustration was a common theme for the High Flyers. None of the top 5 won today. There was late heartbreak for Crewe, conceding a stoppage time equaliser at Crawley. Leyton Orient's draw with Walsall extended the O's advantage over Stevenage to 8 points. Mansfield's win over informed Gillingham maintained their promotion push. At the bottom, Rochdale's draw got them a point closer to the Gills. Hartlepool and Crawley both edged a little further from the bottom two. That's it for today. We'll leave you with the best of the action from another weekend of enthralling EFL football. From me, Jack Woodward, and the rest of the team, goodbye, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.